But the underlying difference is that the Sephardic methodology is really emerges from a different approach to what the purpose of studying Tanakh is in general, which is the purpose of studying Tanakh in the mind of the Sephardic Chachamim is in order to gain understanding of certain broad underlying ideas, because they saw the study of Torah as one component of a general endeavor of reaching knowledge of God, reaching knowledge of truth and knowledge of God. And therefore the question is, how does this story bring me to a greater Yediat Hashem? How does this story bring me to a greater Ahavat Hashem? I need to understand the principles that are hidden beneath the story, and then I've really accessed what the story is trying to teach me, and I can integrate the story. This is the key thing. Once you understand the story this way, as really the story of Yehuda and Yosef is really reflecting certain ideas about character and leadership and what it means to be a leader who is a principled leader, and how that requires discipline and self-control and so on. Or you look at Bil'am and you see how knowledge can either be a weapon that's or a means for manipulating people, or it can be a means of educating and liberating people from their circumstances of ignorance. That's a broad theme that interconnects with so many other themes and mitzvot and stories, that now you have opened up a whole new sort of vista of a perspective on Torah and on mitzvot that you didn't have before. It unlocks a whole new world of ideas, as opposed to the micro approach, where each word you're trying to find a significance in each word. But at the end of the day, if you want to know, well, what did Rashi think was the basic theme or the underlying idea of the story, it's very hard to know. It's very hard to tell. Whereas the Sephardic Chachamim usually signal it. They usually say it one way or another, whether it's the Ramban, who again obviously has a very different approach, let's say, than the Rambam. We know that they have different approaches. Ibn Ezra, Radak, these are Chachamim that had different approaches and different ideas sometimes that guided their understanding of Torah, or that they espoused or that they taught. But the key is that they articulate a general vision, and within that general vision, they want to place the story, the mitzvah, whatever they're discussing. They have a big picture. I call it big picture Judaism. That's why I always call Sephardic Judaism is big picture Judaism. And you see that even the approach of halakha, which we're not going to get into today, but the approach of halakha to halakha among the Sfaradim is always to codify it, to see how everything fits together. I don't want to get lost in the details. If I focus too much on the details and the pilpul of individual details separate from the totality, I'll eventually lose the thread. I'll lose the sense of what the framework is. I lose that big picture perspective. So I need to make sure that I have everything synthesized together, simplified, consolidated, integrated, so I see the big picture at the end of the day, instead of being lost or drowned in a sea of detail that of disconnected or only loosely related detail. And that's what can happen in halakha as well. So that's why the Sfaradim always were trying to seek an integrating principle, whether it be in halakha. That's why all the codifiers of halakha were always Sfaradim. All of the philosophers until, let's say, the 20th century, maybe the 19th, all of the philosophers of Judaism were Sfaradim, because they were seeking the big picture that would unify the different ideas, give purpose and direction and a sense of mission and a sense of broad perspective to Torah and mitzvot. So this is the what I think is the underlying cause of the difference in methodology. The methodological difference is symptomatic of an underlying conceptual difference or theoretical difference that yields these different approaches.